Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Modern cars increasingly resemble a continuous weave of wires, sensors, and all kinds of computers. The car is overflowing with electronics. One can argue endlessly about whether this is a bad thing or a good thing. Here it is much more important to understand the device that actually directs and controls the work of all electronic stuffing of the vehicle. And here we are talking about the electronic control unit, or simply ECU. Only the laziest person who is not interested in cars and has never delved into the essence of their device has not heard about this abbreviation, but there will be few of them. Most people know about this block. To be more precise, about its existence. But at the same time, they have little idea of the essence of ECU, its functions, capabilities, and even location in the design of the car. What controls? For everyone, the decoding has already become quite clear and known. To understand the meaning of the device became much easier even after this step. Now you know what this abbreviation is and how to decipher the ECU we are considering. Quite often, only the abbreviation is used in technical documentation, since there is no point in reminding motorists of its meaning every time. ECU can be called short with an abbreviation, use the full concept of electronic control unit, or just a controller. The essence of this will not change in any way. It is much more important to know what this ECU is and where it is located in the car. In fact, the block is the brains of a modern car, without which we would get a pile of metal with all sorts of sensors, wires, and electronic devices that are not connected with each other. The ECU is almost constantly in operation, as it receives a huge amount of information from all sorts of sensors. The unit processes this data using the algorithms provided in its program, after which it sends command signals to the so-called executive devices. The block forces pumps, ignition systems, injectors, and many other things to work in the appropriate mode. As a result, it turns out that the block acts as a leader for all electronic processes provided in the vehicle. This ranges from the elementary operation of headlights to the management of security systems. There is a fairly extensive list of sensors, from which information first goes to our ECU, and then, going through processing, the unit itself sends commands to the executive devices, depending on the results of analyzing the information received. Among the main sensors that depend on the controller, we can distinguish several. They are responsible for motor temperature, idle speed, fuel supply, oxygen supply, ambient temperature, anti-lock brakes, stabilization, system, anti-idling, speed, current throttle position, accelerator pedal pressure level, crankshaft, brake system, coolant level, brake fluid level, onboard voltage, power steering, electric power steering, air conditioning, heating, etc. But here is listed only the basic set, which is available on almost every modern vehicle. On more advanced cars with rich equipment, the list increases considerably. Having processed the received information, the controller or brain of the car sends commands to various executive units, systems, and mechanisms. This makes it possible to make changes in the operation of throttle valve, the air supply system, ignition, timing, air conditioning, system, exhaust system, lighting, window elevators, heating, automatic transmission, etc. But even here we are talking only about the minimum set, typical for the basic equipment of inexpensive foreign cars. Increase the equipment or buy a more modern and advanced car with a large number of electronics, and the ECU will send commands to a number of additional systems, mechanisms, and devices. For many people, it's amazing that one small unit does such a complex job. And it does it constantly, without interruption, simultaneously processing a huge amount of information. Because of the wide range of functions and capabilities, some people think that the ECU should look like a computer, laptop, or tablet, and have impressive dimensions. The only exception is the lack of a screen. But in reality, everyone is even more amazed to see the actual form factor of this control unit. Read also, high idle speeds and how to adjust them. What it looks like. In fact, you already know what the ECU is in any modern car. It is the control and command center of the entire motor vehicle. All the electronics used are tied to one unit. It is obliged to report to the ECU every second and sometimes even more often. At the same time, the controller itself, analyzing the received data, can correct the work of systems and the entire machine, transmitting the necessary command signals to the executive devices. Now it is worth looking at the unit simply as a component of the car. It is a small device, which is enclosed in a special housing. The material used for the housing is plastic or metal, most often aluminum because of its immunity to corrosion. The housing is installed in different locations, depending on the specific make and model. At the same time, the very material of the ECU housing depends on the location. If engineers decided to install it in the passenger compartment, then plastic and durable polymer are used, since there is no threat of rapid wear and damage. When the ECU is located in the underhood, here it is better to use metal. Inside this housing there is a board. It is the controller or control unit. Outside there are two connectors. These connectors are adapted for CAN-type buses. Through them, there is a connection with all wires from sensors and devices in the car. Additionally, most ECUs have a connector for connecting diagnostic equipment. With its help, the block brains are cleaned, software is changed, basic settings are restored, errors are removed, etc. Active work of the block leads to its active heating. In order to dissipate heat, engineers have provided special fins. This is similar to the processor cooling radiator used in computers and laptops. Having removed this control unit from the car, you will see a box of compact dimensions in front of you. Approximate parameters are 30 by 30 millimeters with a thickness of no more than 70 millimeters. Although the blocks are different, depending on the year of manufacture, a particular car and car manufacturer. Internal stuffing, we've got the box sorted out. Now it is interesting to look inside. Under the shell, which acts as a casing and protection, there is an impressive-sized board. In many respects, it reminds of the boards that are installed in the system unit of an ordinary personal computer. It makes no sense to go into the details of the ECU board device. Here it is important to know that it includes two key nodes. This is memory and software. And the memory here is of three types: permanent memory programmable device, or simply ROM. It is used to store various programs and functions for the power unit operation, operational memory device, or abbreviated as RAM. This section of the block memory is necessary for realization of work with intermediate information. In fact, here the data are processed in real-time mode. The last part of the memory is the EEPROM. Also a memory device, which is called electronic reprogrammable, stores temporary information in the form of access codes, locking, mileage, fuel consumption, etc. The next section of the control unit board is the software. It is divided into two types. The functional software is considered to be the most important. It receives various information from all kinds of sensors. The software analyzes the data and then sends commands for execution. Another type of memory is modules or control chips. It is needed to monitor the received information and check for errors. If errors are detected, the software tries to eliminate the errors. If it fails, then the driver sees them in the form of alphanumeric designations. Check or check engine can be considered the best known. In some cases, if the error is critical, the software blocks the possibility of starting the internal combustion engine. Also about the software within the ECU board is well known to fans of chip tuning. Here changes are made, programs are rewritten, new algorithms are set. Location: it is fair to know exactly where the ECU is located in the car. In reality, the block is located in different places. It all depends on the specific car, and sometimes even the year of manufacture. Read also what you need to know about waffle markings on the road. There are two main places where automakers install the control unit. During the vehicle assembly process. Interior. Since the interior is a fairly roomy space, you should look for it based on the manual for your car. In the case of cars manufactured by Automotive, choose a place under the panel near the heater radiator. In some, the unit is located under the rear sofa. This is most relevant recently for foreign cars of the premium class. There are rare cases when the block is placed in the luggage compartment. Underhood space. In general, engineers have long come to the conclusion that to place the block under the hood is not a very correct decision. This is due to the constant exposure to dirt, water, moisture, precipitation, high temperatures. All this negatively affects the block, even if it is enclosed in a strong and reliable housing. Look for the ECU in the battery area near the fuse box. In practice, it is not difficult to find the control unit even on a car that you have just purchased and have not had time to understand its structure. Automakers never place blocks under the panels that are difficult to remove, or for access, it is necessary to dismantle half of the cabin. Usually, it is one hidden panel, held on clips or 1 to 2 self-tapping screws. In the underhood, finding the ECU is even easier. Visually look for a box with a couple of cables coming off it. Experienced motorists and specialists in the field of car diagnostics strongly advise amateurs not to try to disassemble and repair the unit. This is a complex device, which you have already surely realized. That is why it is extremely expensive even on budget-class cars. If problems arise, the best solution is to contact a trusted car service. Malfunctions. Often motorists are interested in how you can check your ECU for serviceability. To do this, you do not need to disassemble the entire unit and try to unscrew something there. It is necessary to focus on indirect signs. There are several signs of ECU malfunction which manifest themselves in the form of the following symptoms. The engine does not start at all. All or part of the systems are blocked. The engine runs with inaccuracies. RPMs float. Engine RPM stalls. Errors come out. Any malfunction in the ECU is extremely unpleasant because the unit is considered a reliable and durable element, plus very expensive. No one wants to face the need to replace it. Symptoms of breakdowns appear only as a result of improper operation, mechanical damage, or incorrect filling of software, which often happens to fans of chip tuning. The causes of the breakdown are extremely trivial. These are short circuits, moisture and water on the board, overloading, overheating, physical effects, corrosive processes. Serious damage or burnout of the board leaves almost no chance of restoring the old control unit. That's why you have to buy a new one. And here arises the main problem in the form of high cost. If you have a budget car in a simple configuration, on average you will have to pay at least $300 to $500 for the block. Do not immediately rush to throw out your ECU. First, try to disassemble the block and see what happened inside. It happens that errors come out because of problems with only one small chip. Corrosion has affected some areas, broken contacts. Such faults are eliminated with a probability of 80%. After such repair, ECU can serve for many years. But it is better to give the repair to a good specialist rather than trying to do something yourself without proper experience, knowledge, and skills. ECU is the most important and integral component of any modern car. And the more electronics are used in the car, the higher the importance of the ECU. But the higher is its responsibility. Therefore, manufacturers take an extremely responsible approach to the issue of its creation in order to prevent possible failures, minimize malfunctions, and prevent errors. Incredibly complex device, the appearance of which sometimes does not let you believe it. In conclusion, the engine control unit, or ECU, is a vital component of modern vehicles, acting as the brain that manages engine performance and efficiency. Typically located in the engine compartment or near the dashboard, it processes data from various sensors to optimize fuel injection, ignition timing, and emissions control. Understanding the ECU's role not only highlights its importance in vehicle operation, but also emphasizes the advancements in automotive technology that enhance our driving experience. Thank you for watching, and we hope this video has provided you with valuable insights into the fascinating world of automotive electronics.